Hello, welcome to today's session. Welcome to African STEM Girl as well. Today we are going to be building a weather app using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML will give us an opportunity to create the structure. CSS will give us an opportunity to add styling to our app. And JavaScript will give us an opportunity to add interactivity to our website. So we are going to be using the OpenWeatherMap API. An API in full means Application Programming Interface. What happens is they have been able to create or collect data, arrange it in a particular way, and so from our end, we do not need to collect data. Just by using the API, we are able to make use of the free data that they have. So I'm going to show you how to sign up and how to be able to access the API so that we can use it in our website. So let us see how our website should end up looking like. So when we launch it, it will show a default value of June. So you can change it to any value or any city you want to see the weather. So for example, I've typed Kisumu. Kisumu is in Kenya. So we can see that it has shown us that, at this date, at this time, this is the weather. So that shows that it's showing weather in the dates that we want. We can change this to also Nairobi. And we can see that shows that there'll be some light rains. And this will be the temperature along Nairobi as of today. So, and it's even showing us the time. So using the API, we'll be able to display this weather data on our website without having to go and collect that data or something like that and organize it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log in on my weather API using the openweathermap.org. There are also other free APIs. Some APIs are normally paid, others are normally free. So if you come here and you type free weather API, you will see that there are several other options that you can consider. So it's not cast on stone for you to use OpenWeather. I'm going to go ahead and just sign in. No, I'm going to actually create an account because I have used a browser that I do not have an account, so that you guys can be able to see the whole journey of how to go about it. To do so, we'll just have to put in our name, African STEM Girl. I'll put in an email that I normally use for such products that is not associated with my other product. I'll just put a random password. This is not good that it is just showing my password, so I just need to make sure that I edit that later on because this is on the internet. Yeah, I don't know why they don't have the hide password icon. I'll just check out that I am not a robot. So bridges. Oh, I should select all images with bridges. Okay. So I hope you guys know how this bot normally works. So if you don't, there's usually a good video there. So if I can say, I just want to use this to learn. I don't know, you can be able to save. Yeah, they want to keep specifying. Let me just confirm on that email that I sent to. Give me a few seconds. So to confirm my account, I'll just go to my Gmail. I should see an email from that Here it is. Okay, so I can go ahead and just verify my account. Okay, great. So now that I've verified, I can just go ahead and just cancel this and refresh this. I'll see that I no longer need to verify, it's already verified. So good. So as you can see, there are different types of information that or APIs that you can use. So there is historical weather for any new technology. So they have data of up to 45 years behind. So sometimes this can be used for analysis. There is for agriculture, which allows you to get satellite imagery, weather data, and agricultural services that are based on geodata. What this will do is it Musabi, you can use it to analyze the weather condition in various agricultural areas, will be the type of crops they should plant and all that. So currently, this is the open weather dashboard, which allows us to get up-to-date weather data collected in one place. So this is what we want. Go ahead and sign up. If you want, you can go ahead and learn more. There is nothing wrong with that. I do not know my password. Let me just stop sharing and get my password. Don't want to risk showing my other passwords. Okay, I have been able to do it, but it's telling me to verify my account once more to get to the dashboard. So I'll just do that. Then I will reshare my screen for you guys to see what is actually happening. So within that email that they have just sent, they have sent me what they call an API key, but I'll show you how to do so, and so forth. So actually, there's no problem with me sharing this so that you guys can see. So this is so as you can see, thank you for subscribing to free open weather map. This is the API key. You can use this endpoint, and this is an example of an API call that I can use. So if I click on this, let me see. I don't know if it will accept on this email. Yeah. Let me just put this on my other dashboard. If I refresh, let me see if I can get, so I've already verified. Did I verify? See, I don't know why it's not picking up my verification. Did it? I don't think they sent another verification. Let me just get my password. Just stop sharing. I get my password. Okay. No, it's okay. Everything has now worked. So there it is. So we are seeing the open weather dashboard. So what this means is somebody even can create such a dashboard, or a dashboard is basically a place where you can just see a little bit of everything. So just that depends on what you want. So we're just going to go ahead, and as you can see, you can pay or you can just use free data. So you just click get started for free. Where does it keep logging me out? What is happening? Already have an account, okay? Let me get this. When I look at my inbox, let me use an email they have put. I believe they have put in one of their emails. Yes, I'm already signed in. Let me go to my account. Okay, so here is the API that the default that they have given me. So I can decide to name it and all that. So if I go to services, I can be able to see my weather forecast. So let us have a look at it. So now with that, we have one call by call subscription plan. So this is just information that they're giving us. So when they tell us 1,000 API calls per day for free, that means just being able to access data, like me clicking and all that. I only have a limit of 1,000 per day. So that is especially because I am on the free version. So after that, they increase based if you are on different versions. Yeah, and whatever you want. So we have no interest then in the pricing. services. Okay, so I'm just going to start now coding and seeing how I can use this. So to use it, they do give us in the email they sent again, they do give us a small a link where we can be able to go ahead and use it. So I'll click. Okay, so I'll come here. I can just click subscribe. I don't think there's any problem with that. No, I think subscription comes with a cost. I'll just go to the API documentation, and now I can be able to see where I can go. So this is how we are going to view data from different areas, and how we are going to be able to see anything we want. So here also on the email, they gave me another link where they show me an example of an API data. So for example, this is showing London. So the data normally comes organized like this. We call this JSON data. As you can see, there are those curly brackets, those quotation marks. So this is known as an object, and then this is the key value, and then the key, and then this is the value. So that is how it looks like. It does not really look well organized, and that is where we organize using our HTML and our CSS. So if I come here, how to make API calls. So here it is. So you put in your app ID is the API key they give you. They will send you a link. Your API key on your email. And if you don't know where to get it, just come here to your name and you'll see my API keys. So let us look at an example. So this is an example of an API, of the response. Like I have said, it's normally in JSON data. Here it's well presented. You can see this is the key value, lat, and then this is the value that you are, or the answer or the response that you want. So lat, this is the latitude, the longitude, time zone, date, unit, weather overview, and so forth and so forth. So there are several fields you can use. Lat shows the latitude, long shows the longitude, TZ shows the time zone, date shows the date, unit shows the unit, and weather overview show the weather overview for the requested date. So forth and so forth. So there is a lot of cool stuff there. So let us first prepare where our project is going to land. So let me just also send some of this link in the chat section so you can just be able to go through them at your own pace. So I am going to come here and I am going to click on VS Code Dev. So this just allows me to be able to see the type of content. It's an environment where we are just going to be able to write our project, which is something that is important. So I am going to also go to my desktop file. Here it is. And I'm just going to write new folder. I'm going to write weather app. So yeah, so that is where our files will be. So I'll come here. I can come even and click this icon, which looks like two pages on top of each other, or I can click here where it's written open folder. Here there's also a big blue button written open folder. Either of the two is okay. I'll go to desktop and I'll go to weather app. Okay, so there it is. Yes, I do trust the authors. Great. So currently it has no file, which there is no problem. The first thing I'm going to start with is the index.html. I'll save the changes for sure, and I do the style.css, and then I'll do this the script.js. So that's how it's looking like. So we're going to start with the structure of our website, which is now in the HTML. So I'm just going to start with the doc type. So remember, the doc type allows the browser to know where to find the HTML file, which is important because the HTML file is what we want it loaded first. After that, we have the head. So the head contains information that the search engine can find, and also it normally contains the title of the website. So you can come here and add a title. So I can call this, let me just cancel this so that it does not confuse us. So I'll call this weather app. I can give this a favicon. A favicon is just these icons you see at the top, because when we write weather app like that, there's something I have forgotten. Sorry, there's something I have missed out here. Once you write doc type HTML, the next thing should be the HTML code. So the HTML code is important in enclosing all the code that we are writing, and then the HTML code is now divided into two: the head and the body. The head and the body. So we have our title. So I just want to open this in the Chrome or in the browser so we can see how it's looking like. So at the top we have the word weather app, which is what I have just written here. It's appearing here. If you don't believe that's the word, if you just remove the word app here and I come here and I refresh, you see it's showing as expected. So I'll return the word app. The other thing is we want to add at least an icon here at the front. So that's the icon of our app. We call that a favicon. So to do so, I'll just come here. It's a weather app. So mostly we can have a cloud logo. So if I go to images, I'll just find a cloud logo that I like. This is not so bad. And I can right click on it after I've selected it and say copy image address, then come here on the plus sign and click and type background remover. We need to first remove the background. So I'll use this tool to remove the background. I will drop the link in the chat section as well. So I'll come here, URL, paste this and click OK. So let me just send the link now. And it's removing the background. So it has refused that image. Some images do not give you an easy time. I can pick this. I don't know if this will come with those wordings at the bottom. Okay. There is like a yellow tag at the bottom that I am avoiding. Okay, we can use this. So I'll just copy link address and come here to remove BG, and I'll in the URL I'll paste that. Oh, what is happening with these images? Try this. Copy image address. Should be copy image address. I hope I was not clicking copy link address. Let me paste it. Okay, so I don't know if are these images that protected? I don't get it. Okay. The other option we can come. I think I saw one from Flaticon. Flaticon is usually a platform where you can get free icons. Let me just go and get it from there. So here it is. This is free, so I'll just pick a small size of that. I don't need too big because it's for up here. So I can just do the free download. Okay, it has downloaded. It is called cloud.png. So for sure it will be in my downloads. Fine, don't worry about all these files. I am working on something, so I am doing a lot of downloading. It's not so clear, but oh well. Okay. They have actually said they couldn't remove the background. Today is the day that all images are giving us a hard time. Could be image address. Let me try one last one. Okay, finally one has accepted. So I'll download this. So you can see it has saved with a lot of random numbers starting with 489. The next thing, when you want to add something as a favicon, you have to convert it. So I'll come here and I'll say PNG. I believe it's a PNG extension, but let me just confirm. So if I come to my downloads, here it is. So it's a PNG. So I'll come here and I say PNG to ICO converter. So anything that you're adding as a favicon, we normally use the file extension ICO. And as you have seen, there's so many places you can use, you can convert. So let me also put that in the chat section for your referral, for your reference. So I'll just come here and I'll pick okay, there it is. And then I'll just click convert. Okay, so now that it has finished converting, I'll just download that. So when I go to my downloads, I'll find it, but now it's there too. There's one that has a .png at the end, and this one that has a .ico at the end. So I can use both of them. One, I can use them in a different part of the website. So we'll just have it. It should be in desktop. Yep. So in desktop, I'll move it to the weather app. That move. Oh yeah, it had already moved. Okay, here they are. So if I go back to my application, I'll find them here. So one is going to be our favicon. So I'll just rename it. And the other one will be our, we can call it our logo. because mostly the favicons are normally the logos, just basically just like YouTube and even Netflix and so forth. So we have our logo up here there. So now I can come in and add my favicon. So I'll say link, because I am linking my HTML to an external file that has my image. I'll use the link tag. So I'll say link href. So href will be the name of my file. So that's why I'll store the name of my file. So that's favicon.ico or ico. And then after that, or ICO, I think it's ICO actually, and not ICO. So after href, I write type. So what is the type of file you're connecting to the HTML? This is an image that is an icon. And then after that, I'll say what will be the relationship is that rel, standing for the relationship, is that this is an image file. So if I now go ahead and refresh here, wait, did I write something wrong? I don't think I've written anything wrong. Oh, sorry, here image should be icon, not image, is that this is an icon. If I refresh now, yep, it's very small, but it is there. So now at least we have our favicon and we have our title. So the next thing here in the body tag, we are now going to move forward. And the first thing I'll do, so remember our application looks like this. Our final application, it looks like this, where we can be able to type in a region and get the weather. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create a container that will contain all this information here. So I'll come here and I'll say div, which allows me to create a container. And I can now go ahead and say h1 oh no, let me create another container. We have a container, we just get to have two containers. Right. I'm gonna just have the one. So h1, and we can call this, so we can call it weather ninjas app. Yeah, so even here, maybe rather than having weather app, we can call it weather ninjas app. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and now create the place where we actually see the input, or where we get to see these different types of weather. That's the first thing I will do for now. And then I'll come back and create a place where somebody can type and get whatever weather they want. So I'm going to come here and say div. I'll create another div just to enclose that whole data that has the weather. So div, and I will say I'll have a h3 that will allow me to add the town. So we can write or the city. Maybe for now I can write Nairobi, capital N. And then I can go ahead and do a date so that we can be able to see the dates that we are currently viewing the weather. So maybe for now I can just put a random date, or I can put today's date. Okay, so we have the dates. The next thing I can go ahead is I can add just a picture of that weather. Even that we can do it here at the top just to make it look good. Right now it just looks like that. So just not to break this, we can put the weather, the image of our weather logo at the top. So let's img src is equals to logo dot png. Okay. It's good I give it an alt text like this is an image of the weather ninjas app logo. So after that we can have some temperature being shown here. So maybe the temperature value, because we really want but let us see how it looks like so far. So there is how it looks like. So we can show now some temperature. So maybe the temperature can be, because we want that to be more visible, we can use maybe a H2. H2. Yeah, H2 is not that bad. And then I'll give this, so we are doing what? Temperature. So we can give it 12 degrees Celsius. I keep forgetting how to add maybe I can read this 12 degrees. I keep forgetting how to add the superscript. I'll try and remember so I can show you. So we have the temperature. We can now have a description of how the weather will be and so forth. So we can put that in the text. So it is cloudy. And then after that, maybe we can show also the speed of the wind. We can write 12 kilometers per hour. Yeah, we can leave it at that. Let me see how it's looking like. Okay, not that bad. All this is about the structure and all that. So let us directly go to our HTML. I think we can add the form here so that we're just done this input where we are able to get the weather. We can just add that. I'd like to change the flow of this one and just add this at the bottom, like div. I'll just enclose it in another div and I'll say input. Actually, let us create a form and say input type is equals to text, because when you're writing a name of a place, it's normally a text type. So, and then we can go ahead and have a placeholder. So if I just leave it like that, this is what it will look like. So here it is. I can zoom out. Here it is. So we want to be able to add some text that can guide our users. We can use a label. So use enter. City name. So if you refresh this, it now looks like that. We can use a break tag. So a break tag normally allows us to it creates or adds a new line. So once I do that, you can see this goes to a different line, and I can even add another break tag just to increase the space. Okay, so here up to that point, so we have our break tag. So the next thing is I can come ahead and add a button. So when you're adding a place where people can submit, you can go about it two ways. You can add a button, or you can even use input type button. So however you feel like, I can just add a button. let's say is get weather. Yeah, so if I come ahead and refresh this is how it looks like. Let us add some break tags so that in the previous HTML element, so that this goes on its own line. I'll just add I'll add one more just so that we have some good space. You can add some spacing with margin top and all that, but also this is just a way you can go ahead and do that on the HTML side. Yeah, so we have our HTML structure. So let us go ahead now and add our styling in our CSS. So to add the styling, you have to connect the two files. So I'll come here and I'll say link href is equals to style.css, and then we can say type is that this is a style sheet. Sorry, the type is it's a text that is in CSS format, and then the rel or the relationship is that this is a style sheet. So now I can go ahead and close this. So now I have connected my CSS to my HTML. So let us go ahead and add some styling. So by default I'll just start with the body. I would prefer it to be body. No, I keep writing the wrong thing, body. So I'd prefer the background. So if you want to put the background to have this effect where one side is darker than the others, we normally use what we call linear gradient. Those are gradient colors where you put two different colors and you guide it how you want it to flow. What do I mean? If I come here and I do and I type linear gradient, sorry, that was loading. So as you can see, this is an example of a gradient background. You can see it is flowing. It's a mixture of two colors. So there are different types of gradients in CSS. There is So there is what we call linear gradients, there's what we call radial, and there's what is called conic gradients. So if you scroll down, what is happening with my mouse? So we have linear gradients here. So let me do that again. So for example, this is adding a background image. So the first thing you state is the direction. The other thing you state is the color, the first color and the second color. You can mix several colors if you want. So for example, this one is from top to bottom. So this is usually the default. So that one you don't need to specify direction. If you just write red, yellow, it will automatically show as you expect. Then we have left to right. It will automatically show as you expect. So you write to right if you wanted to go from left to right. And then you state which colors you want on each side. And then we have diagonal, so it just cuts across. So you write to bottom right. So you can do that. So this is from red to yellow. Yeah, so you can use also angles. So like this is 180 degrees. Multiple colors. So you see this is when you mix multiple colors. This is how you can create some rainbow background where you have to right, you say red. Yeah, so all the different colors in the rainbow, you add them. So you can also use some transparency, which allows you, maybe you don't want the colors to be too solid. So with that, we normally use one color, especially the one of the color should be extremely light and the other one is darker, so that it seems as if rather than it being two mixture of colors, it's like this same color, it's going on reducing in size. I mean, increasing in the shade of the color. So from white, for example, to solid red. So this is what we call repeating. So you just write the word repeating linear gradient and it does the pattern that you have specified and so forth. So you can, those are linear gradients. You can go ahead and look at the other gradients. Here is radial. It looks like it is coming from the center. And here is conic. So this, all the colors are spread equally around the center point. Yeah, so we are going to use a gradient color just so that we can implement what we have just looked at. So let me just go ahead and share my screen, and send this link in the chat section also for your perusal. I think my internet is lagging. I'm not sure. If you feel like I'm lagging and you're on this, we are live with you, just let me know. But I don't know if I can do much about it. So we can pick the values that we want. So if you want it to look like this, it's just a particular shade of black from one side to another. So let us come here. So remember, if you want your colors, you can use the color picker. Where you can get different colors that you want. So the good thing, even with the color picker, it almost seems as if it is in a linear, in the gradients linear, so it gives you an opportunity to see how maybe a mixture of the several colors that you would want would look like. Okay, so let me see if I find, I don't want to work with, I think I don't mind this, so I can pick the high and towards the low of that. So I'll come here to my CSS, and I'll write background color. I'll say linear gradients to be, let me confirm something. Okay. Can write that, and then we move ahead and say, I can say to write. So I want to pick this feature here. Okay, so I want to pick, where's that feature? I'm sorry about that. I think my internet has a problem or something. It's not loading. Okay, let me just continue. Hopefully you guys can hear me and you can see me. So I'll just add some color. So to right, I'll come and pick on the right side. I can pick, no, maybe let me move up a little bit so it's not too dark. It almost looks like orange. I can pick that. So I just want to do something different from what I had done. I can now put the other color, the second color. So I'll come here and I'll move it to the edge. So do whatever you feel like you want. Even if you don't want to go to this side, you want to go on the darker side. There is no problem with that. I think I can even pick that to see how it looks like. However, style is very personal to whatever you want. So let me give this, let me look at how it looks like if I refresh. So I won't see much, mainly because it is preferable if I specify the height to be 100 VH, so that it can be 100% or 100 VH. Wait, why isn't it loading? Let me try. Let me remove the word background color. I just use background. Okay, so I needed to just use the word background. Okay, so there it is. So we have our background color. It's a gradient. That means it is moving from one end to another. It's a mixture of two colors. I've shared a link in the chat section where you can learn more about how to mix two colors. Okay, so for now, the next thing I'll come here, I'll say display to be flex. I want everything that I have to be at the center. So I'll start by saying display to be flex, and I'll say justify content to be center, and align content to be content mostly, but also items. There's no problem because we'll create other divs inside of it, so we can use actually align items. So let me come ahead and refresh. So it's at the center now. Okay, great. So the next thing we have is we have a container. We have a container here, or a div that has all the data. So we can come ahead and give it a class name, so we can be able to style it. So I'll give this a class name of weather card, and I will say in my style.css, I'll come ahead and say dot weather card. So remember, if you want to change the font, I have shown you in several tutorials before how to change the font of in a HTML in a CSS file. I've shown you then how to get external fonts, so you have a lot of knowledge that you can maximize. So here we can come ahead and change, add a background color for sure, that will be able to see our text. Let me look at this once again. Or my colors should almost match this, so that at least, okay, but if I do that, it will hide this. Let me try white. I know white is like so clean, but let us see how it will look like, because I can't do dark here. I don't think it actually looks bad. Let me put some padding, that is some space around that content. Let me put some padding of 20px. So the other thing maybe we can do is to put some border radius so that it stops being too sharp, and we can even specify the width and the height. So I can say border radius. Let me start with border radius. What have I written? Border radius. I can give this like a value of 20px. So if I come ahead and refresh, yeah, that's not so bad. Let me change the, but let me give it a width. Can give it a width of like 30%. Okay, let me give it a particular value. Let us say 30%. Let us actually say 30% of the whole width. Okay, not bad. Now we can go ahead and I don't think I want to put a box shadow. I'll leave it like that. Yeah, so yeah, that's not so bad. If I want to change the background color to a particular linear gradient, I've shown you how to do that as well. So let us move on. The next thing I'll do is edit now my styling for my text so that it behaves as it should. So we can come here. The first thing is the text for the heading. So we can come here and say class. I'll call this main header. And then I can come ahead and style it. Dot main header. I'll give it a text align center. Let me see how that now will look like. Okay, so now it's at the center. We can increase the height, the font size, I mean. And if we want, we can even change the background color, I mean the text color. So to do that, we just write color, and you can pick a particular shade of blue just to almost match. Okay, I can copy that. I know this blue, actually I've thought about it and I was like, weather normally has this blue undertone. Anything you're talking about with regards to weather, let me increase that more. So maybe we can consider that. Okay. For these colors here, I can come here and go to that blue. Okay, let me see. Yeah, that looks way better. So, we have that weather blue undertone. So the next thing we have here is the image. Let us go and size it up and make it look as expected. So here is the image. I will give it a class, and I can give it a class of weather logo because it's my logo. I can come here and say dot weather logo to be, we can give it a height of, let us try 300px, and a width of 300px as well. Let us see how that, if that is too big or too small. So let me align it to the center. So to do that, this is inside a div that has all the weather details. Why, by the way, did I put it there? Because this is not a weather detail. This should be on its own. This should definitely be on its own outside. Yeah, let me put it there. Right after. So did I style the weather card? Yeah, we can give this a display of flex. Let us see what happens. Immediately we write the word displays flex. Everything goes on the same line. Worry not, you just now come here and you write flex direction to be column. If you refresh that, so everything now goes back to how we want. Let us align it to the center. So we can be align items to the center. Even we can put justify content just in case. So remember, the difference between the two align items and justify content is that justify aligns it to the center vertically, I mean horizontally, and then align items is vertically. So if I refresh this to see the changes, so there we have it. It seems like there is a lot of space, or the rather, maybe we can, okay. So here in the image, there is a lot of space between that and the text. So I feel like this gap is too big. So to narrow it down, let me actually inspect to confirm where that gap is coming from. So you right click, then you go to, you right click, sorry, you right click, then you go to inspect, and you will see that accordingly. So just a minute. Okay, sorry about that. So I have looked at when I inspected, I noticed that the height I had given it, you see it showing me 300 times 100. That shows the width is 300 and the height is 100. So let me reduce the width a little bit to like 200. You see it will look slightly better. Let me see how that now looks like. Let me inspect that again. I see if I can do more. I think I can reduce the width a little bit more. Let me see if it is possible. So I mean, is it the width or the height? Also the width can do. Let me try 150. So the good thing with inspect is that you can be able to kind of see where you are, what is causing you to have the problem. So the height is also a little bit bigger. Let me try 100. Okay. Okay, yes, it's a little bit smaller here, but I think we can stay with that. I'll reduce the space here, but I can also increase it a little bit just to make it a little bit bigger because I feel like it's too small. That is not bad. Especially it doesn't look congested. And then now to reduce this space, remember when you have two elements, we normally use margin to give them space. So the only thing I'll do is rather than increase the margin, I'll decrease the margin. So I can come here, even still on my weather logo, and I say margin top. So rather than giving it, because if I give it like a value like 20px, for example, let us see what will happen. It increases the distance between the two, but now I want to reduce. So to reduce, you come ahead and you add a negative value. Maybe you can add it here. That's it. If that reduces the, so you see it's reducing, so I can just increase that negative value, maybe to like 40. Let me increase it a little bit more. Yeah, I think we can leave it at that. So now it's on the negative side, but that allows us to draw closer, especially when elements come with some more space around them. And even we can do the same for the margin bottom because I'm seeing there's a lot of space in between here, but maybe it can be a lesser value. So you can say margin bottom, we can put negative 20px. So if I refresh, that it looks like that. So it's a little bit closer. We can leave it like that for now. So we have our own container that has the details. So I can come here and give it a class and say the class to be weather details. So with the class being weather details, now I can be able to do some stuff. Even it can be weather info or something like that. Just a minute, I connect, I pick my laptop charger. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So we have now the weather details there, which we want to be able to edit them and even do something about them. So the next thing I will go ahead and do I think it is better if I give this different class so that they can just show up differently. So maybe this can be city name. Here we can have a class of date. We can have a class of the temperature. Here we can have a class of weather description. Here we can have a class of speed, weather wind speed. Wind speed. Okay, great. So we have that. So let us go ahead and edit accordingly. So right now, of course, there is no main difference. So I'll come here and I'll start with my city name. So in my city name, what do we have? We have a heading. So the thing that I can go ahead and do is change the font size for now so that it looks slightly different. So that's not looking like this plain. We can even change the color. So city name, sorry, color. We can pick, if I can get like a good solid blue that is almost nearing the darker side. And then I can give it a font size of like, we can try 30px. Let's see how that looks like. Not so bad. So there it is. We can now go ahead and even here, okay, let us leave it like that for now. The next thing I can change is the time. So the time, we give it a class of, the date. So we can start with that first. Dot date. Let me look at that date. I think these things can have, okay. Yeah, the date is important. I was trying to ask myself if I need the date. Okay, so we can change the color. We can do a lighter blue. That's too light. Let's make it still light than what we have, and then we change the font size. So mostly they tell you to have like three main colors, one being primary, the rest being secondary. Okay, let us have the same color we have here. We just have different sizes. See if that will look better. Yeah, that's not so bad. At least it's just the different sizes. And then now we can do the degrees. So I can just copy this. I think I called it what? Temperature. No, something is not right there. Yeah, okay, let me refresh. Okay, so we can proceed. The rest is, so sometimes if you want to give things the same styling, because I am realizing I would want all this, everything in the weather details apart from the city name to have the same size and color. So rather than me repeating all this over and over again, I will come here and I'll just pick one and write weather class weather details, to have that color and font size. So the only thing that will be unique is for the city name, because weather details also encloses the city name and it's the parent element. Let me just start with it. And there it is. So it looks like that. So what is off? What can we change here? I think maybe just the sizes. Yeah, so it's just the type of text that we have here. So these are paragraphs. Let me see, do we maintain those paragraphs? No, we shouldn't. Let me give them a heading rather than a paragraph. Let me give them, even if it's a H5. Because if it's the paragraph, I'll have to make it to be bold. That will involve some custom styling that I don't want to get into right now. Yeah. Okay, so how is it looking now? Okay, so maybe we can have, so the text will definitely change, so there is no need of worrying too much about that. Even this, the text in here, it will change. So right now it's just wondering how it's looking like. So this can be also, the temperature is bigger than even the city name. Let me make the city name to be a H2. And the temperature, the dates can be, I think we can put the dates after the degrees. Okay, but it can stay there, but at least let it be slightly bigger than the degrees, and then the degrees can be a H4, so that at least it goes in decreasing order. Let us see. See here it was really mixed up, so let us see how that will look like. Yeah, so that at least there is some order in how they have organized themselves. So from H2 up to H3. Okay, so the next thing we have is this form here. So let us style the form so that we can get into our 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 JavaScript, so we can add some functionality to that. So I can come here and I will just give this a class. I can call this city input, because all you're just typing in there is the city. And we can try and style it as well. Come here, dot city input. Let us look at it. We can, to distinguish it from this text so that somebody can see, we can put a background color and give it also a width and a height. Let us confirm how it looks like on the inspect, if it already has a particular width and height. So if I come here, those are the weather details. Even those, we can give them a good background there. So if I come here, I need to reduce this padding, it's too big. So that is the height so far of the padding of the form. Let me reduce that padding of those elements, it's too big. Here it is. We do 10 to 100, just so that we stop having too much space around the elements. So put 2px and px. The other thing I'd want to do is, while I'm here, we have here our weather details. So I'll come here to weather details, and I'll give this padding. Okay, before I do that, let me give you a background color so that you can see why we need to give it a padding. I'll pick the lightest shade of blue I can get, just something that is almost similar to white. Let me mute my phone. But before I do that, let's see how it will look like. So it looks like that. Can even make it more lighter. Okay, so let me just put some padding around that. So here, if I refresh it, let me do more padding. I'm just making the color to be way brighter. I don't want it to be too blue. Just to add a really faint background color. Let me look at that again. Let me refresh. Okay, that is not so bad. I'll now add a padding, and I'll give it like a padding of 5%. 5%, I know it's a lot actually. Okay, that's not so bad. I can give this also a width and a height. You can give it a width of like 200 px. Let me see how fast the width will look like before I add the height. Oh, that width is too small. I can add it to like 300. Okay, that's not so bad. I can now go ahead and even write text align center so that everything is at the center. Okay, and let me give it some corners. That is border radius. Just put 20px. And then I think now we can go ahead and say, even that padding is too much, to 2px. Yeah, doesn't need to be too big. And then that makes me see stuff like the city name should most probably be way darker. Yeah, something like that. Okay. This one, it's cloudy. It's not giving, but let me leave it like that just because the description from the APIs were longer. So we'll see how it will look like as we continue. So I don't want to add a lot more because we will end up seeing how that will look like in a few. I think the only thing I would want to add, I know it seems like I am making this, I'll put a div here. Just patience, you see what I mean. I put a div and then I come ahead and pick this, put it in here, copy it again, write city or region, put a full colon there, and then yeah, let's see how that will look like. I have an idea of how it will look like, but let us see. Okay, so I want it to be on one line, so I'll come here, I'll pick this class, sorry about that, and I'll put it here. So now I can come back to my city name, styling here. First of all, I'll reduce the font size at least, and I can give it now, I can say display. So because I intend to do the same for all the others, I can come here and I say dot any div that I create inside the weather details, let it have a flex. You can say weather details div, let the display to be a flex and the flex direction to be a row. Okay, so if I now refresh, this is how it looks like, so that at least I have some text in between. So let me just put I'm trying to put a space here, but I think I know what we can do, because there are two separate elements. Oh, I've refreshed my project. I'm sorry, rather than refreshing my website, I've refreshed my project. The app. But will it not? It will load. Okay, so we can do now the same for all the others. So I'll come here and I'll create another container known as div, and it will now have the dates. Let's copy that again, put it here. So this will be dates. And then we have another div. So I'm just trying to organize them so that we have, at least it's not looking so bad. So Control X. So this can be temperature. And then here we can be weather. I can write weather description. And then the last one. This can be speed, wind speed. So what I can do, this should be kilometers per hour. What I can do now is I'll just remove this extra class name. Just put it here. I'll do the same for this. Same for temperature. So class name are really good with styling CSS. ID names are good with JavaScript. So you'll see us add a lot of IDs when you're doing some JavaScript. Okay, so we have now our, wait, this did not save. Let me save. When you see this red circle dot, just know your file did not save. Yes, save changes. So if I now refresh, so that is how it looks like. So it gives you an opportunity to see, okay, is what I am working with, does it make sense? Temperature, weather description, wind speed. Yep. So I think there's an error somewhere here. There. Oh, this. So I think it shows that the text being blue does not really look good. So we can focus on it matching like the text for the town, the city town. So that means we can come here and we say in all the divs, give them this text. So if I now go ahead and refresh, they look like that. Too much space in between them, so we can come ahead in all the divs. There is a margin, we can say margin top. In the margin top, let it just be, we can try -10. Okay, it has written 20 px. Let us see how 20 px will look like. So at least now they are a little bit closer to each other. So if you still want it to be aligned at the center, just write justify content center. They look like that. So whichever you feel works out for you. So I think the one thing I would also want to change is these H5s to be H4s. I feel like that thing is not looking good on this other side. So if I come now and look at it, yeah, that's not so bad. Did the temperature remain? Oh, yeah. So that is also H4. But you'll see how it will look like when we add the description. We might need to change some things that is common. That is not going to be a big problem. Yeah, I think the only thing I'm going to change here is increase the width. Okay, I need to stop styling this. I move on. Anyway, we can leave it like that. There's a reason why I've decided to leave it like that. I've realized um also we need to change like the color so that it looks different, but I'll change that later. So let us do now for the form down here, so that we can be able to have a place where we can enter our name and all that. So that is city, city input. I think I can, rather than putting it the class inside the form. Oops, what have I done? Okay, rather than putting the class inside the form, let me put it in the div. Let me put it here so that I'll have another class for the div. So I'll come here and say city input. First thing, we'll change the background color. For this one, I think I can do a slightly darker blue. Just edit this, not too dark, just darker than what we had before. Let me see. That's still too bright. Too dark, I mean. A bit brighter. Your background color, even when you're doing the black background color, at least you should make sure it's not, for me, I feel like it should make sure it's not overpowering like whatever you have going on. I'll also put a margin just so that we can have some spaces from one element to the other. So I can give it a margin of like 20 px. If I refresh this, it looks like that. I will give it a width as well. Can give it a width of like 300 px. Let me increase that like 400. And then the next thing I'll do is I'll give this a border radius. I'll give it a border radius of 20 px. Like that. Let me give it also a padding, that is the space around the content. You see there is literally no space around this content. So let us give it some space around the content. So I can do some padding. You can give it a padding of like 10 px. Okay. Yeah. So we can have also, let me look at it. We can also give this div a flex. Display of flex. Flex is used a lot, by the way. And then I can say flex to be, the flex direction should be column. So remember, immediately you just put as something to be a display of flex, everything else become row. What I mean is, let me just remove this so you can see. If I refresh, oh wait, it does not, oh, because it's inside a form, so it does not actually need it. So we can, because it's at the moment it's inside a form, it becomes column. So we can now have, I don't really think so. I think maybe it's because of the parent element. I think the main container, we had given it a div and we had aligned some things. So here I can say justify content to be center. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So let us come to the container. So we have our form. here. So we had these break tags, like these break tags have, I overdid them a little bit. We remove some of them. Okay, so let me change this input text and this text here. So I can come here and I can say inside city input, go to where you find the label and give it a particular, you can give it a particular class, or you can just use that approach. Can be like inside city input, there is a label tag. Go ahead and style it and give it a font size of, let us give it a font size of maybe like 15 px, not too big, but also not too small. Let's see. Well, that is small. Let me try 25. Okay. Let me give it a particular font color. The font color we have used for, the color we have used for the other stuff. I believe it was this one, if I'm not wrong. Let's see. But I'll just double check. It's definitely not that one. I think it's the darker option. And here it is. Remove the extra hashtag. Did that remove? Actually removed my full colon. Okay, let me refresh that now. Okay, we can give it font weight. Font weight will make it to be bold because this is a label, it's not a heading. So you can give it the values, it's usually between 100 and 900, or you can write bold. Yeah, so it depends on also the type of boldness you want. So if you feel this is too bold, you can come here and say, okay, maybe I want the boldness to be 400. So if I refresh that, it is bold, but it's not too bold. So let me just add that to like 600. Okay, and leave it at that. So there is also the input. So I'll come here now and style the input. So I'll still use the same approach, .city input. I can say input, the input tag inside the city input. And then I can give this a height. I can say the height to be 50px and the width. Okay, let us first give it a height. 50 is a lot. Change that to 30. Okay, so we can give it a border. We can give it a border and we can give it a margin top. So rather than using the break tag, you can come here and use a margin top, give it something small. I'll give it a border radius. I didn't want to give it a border, I wanted to give it a border radius. I can do 20px, that's what we have consistently been using. Let us see if it will be too much here. Okay, so the border radius here is too much. So mostly if you see it like that, because of the height of the element you're styling, it's small, so it looks like a pill. So I'll remove this border. By default, they usually add a border. I can remove it. Let's write border 0 or none. So you see there is no border now. Can increase that margin top maybe to like 5, and also increase that height to like 35. Okay, let us now work with the button get weather as we wind up this session. So tomorrow we will start with JavaScript immediately. So hopefully before tomorrow you can find time and have this project already done on your end, the CSS and the HTML. So you just code along with what I have done. So city input, so you can come here, again, city input, button, and then you can give it also a height. So we can give it a height of 20 px is okay. We can give it also a background color. So this can be darker, and we can say the color of the text to be brighter, because if you're giving it's a dark background color, it's only logical you have a text that is lighter. I don't think I am a fan of that background color. I can increase, make it a little bit more transparent or a little bit lighter, and let me also increase the font size. I can set the font size to be, you can try 30 px. I don't know if that is a lot, but we will see. Let me also give it a padding of 10 px, and let me also give it a border radius, so that curved corners of also 10 px. Let us see. Well, it's too big. The font size is too big. Let me reduce that to like 20 px. Also, this button, it's too small to fit in those words. So we have this padding. Call it this padding. This padding. Let me remove the padding first of all. Okay. So let me increase the height of my button a little bit. I think I can increase the width. Let me give it a width. I can't be increasing the height all the time. Let me give it a width of like 30 px. 3. 30 px. Let me refresh. Well, that is so little. Okay. 100. Even halfway. 150. Or I can just remove the width manenos. I stick with just editing the height. Or for those who don't know what I mean by the word manenos, it just means we can just reduce the width stuff. Okay, so we have that. I think maybe what I would want to do is to leave it at that point. I think we can continue from there tomorrow, but I really don't like this part. I feel like these different font sizes are making it look off. I think I'd want everything to be the same font size with the city and region. Let me show you what I mean. All this to be, what I can come is I can highlight it. Okay, let me first do the H3s. So if you want to know how to pick values which are the same like I am and just edit them at once, you highlight those the two words, especially if, so for example, right now I just want anything with H4. I highlight and then I do Control D at the same time. It will highlight everything that has H and 4 following each other. After I do that, I'll just use the arrow to navigate. I can navigate maybe to wherever I want to edit and then backspace that and just add. So that will add automatically to all of them rather than me doing one after the other. Okay. So the other thing I'd want to come and do is here in this was city weather details. Yeah, in the weather details div, I can come here and I can change the font weight. I can set the font weight to be at least at 400 so that it stops being so bold. Let's see if that will look better. Oh, it does not. What has happened? Okay, let me actually do this. It looks like it's not picking up the font weight. I don't know if it's not. Okay, let me reduce it. I see if I reduce it to pick it up. Okay, I have an idea. I'll come here and I'll say, since all of them have a H2 now, I can say weather details H2. Any H2 inside the weather details to have a font weight of 200. Let me remove this here. So if I refresh, yeah, so that it's not too bold there. Yeah, we can leave it at that. We can even come ahead one last one. We do weather details. There is H2, the first one, but there is the second H2. So in the second H2, change the font width, or we can say font size or color. Let us try color first to see if it will look different. Color. I've already that. It has not picked it up. This was I was pushing it. It really didn't. No, it should. Oh, I have seen why. I have seen why. Yeah, that should not work. Okay, so we have our elements now and our button. So tomorrow what we will do now is adding the functionality such that when we click on the button, when we type Nairobi here, we want something to happen. We want it to when we click Nairobi and we click get weather, we want to see the region, the actual weather here. So for those who did not see, this is the original app that I did. So if you type Kericho, you click get weather, you see the weather. If I type New York and you click get weather, you get the weather in New York. So this is what we want to accomplish. So we will do the functionality tomorrow. So tomorrow it might be a short session, so join on time because it will just now be adding the functionality to our weather app. So see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.